Hello everybody, this is the Goofsome Fox coming at you with two matches here in the buffed Psycho Doga. These are both going to be 700 cost rated matches here. This first one is going to be on City Ruins, and the one afterwards is going to be on Colony Drop area. And yeah, the Psycho Doga was buffed during the June 2024 unit adjustments. And yeah, I do have quite a bit I want to say about this suit. Not just regarding the buffs, but overall in general. The Psycho Doga is a general type, and it is native to 650 and goes up to level 2 at 700 cost. And it was always a suit that I was really fond of playing when I got it. Also when it came out as well, I remember it being one of the best 650s at the time. It was a very popular pick, if not the best. It was still a very popular pick upon its release, but after a while, especially when it costs like 650, I've mentioned it in previous videos how that cost really just kind of shifts a lot because there's always a lot of really good 650 cost generals that release every once in a while. So yeah, not too surprising to see that this suit did eventually start to get power crept. But yeah, they buffed it for this update here, and well, I'm going to read through everything, and then I'll go over afterwards what I think about the buff, and if I think it, did anything to help this suit out. And we do have quite a lot of buffs to go over as well, so I am going to jump right into it here. And starting off with the unit features. For starters, the unit HP was increased from 21,500 to 23,000. So you do have some extra HP, which, as I mentioned with every buff, always nice to have a little HP, a little extra HP to work with. You have some changes to your part slots here, where the close range part slots will increase from 18 to 20, mid-range slots will increase from 20 to 21, and the long range slots will increase from 10 to 11, and this also applies to the upper levels as well. For the level 1 version of the Psycho Doga, the unit skill Special Leg buff for level 2 has been given, and for the level 2 variation, the speed was increased from 135 to 140, and the unit skill Special Leg buff for level 3 has been given. So yeah, I guess this suit originally did not have leg buffers, so they did add it for both levels of this suit here, which is, again, just a little quality of life thing that is nice to have. Reduced damage to the legs means that if you are on a ground map, well, yeah, it means your legs are going to get broken a lot less often. And sometimes, broken legs can be really the difference between winning in a battle or not. So, yeah, really nice change to have there. Going to our first weapon change here, and this is going to be for the main ranged weapon, the Psycho Doga Beam Assault Rifle. What they did with this was that the focus time was shortened from 3.5 seconds to 2.5 seconds, so a second quicker focus time. And then for the level 2 version, the power was increased from 600 to 700. And I do want to take a second here just to talk about this beam assault rifle. Yeah, it is a focusing beam assault rifle, but what I like about it is that no matter if you're doing the uncharged or the charged shot, it will still fire in a rapid fire, way. The only difference is that if you do the focus fire, it will give you an instant stun on any of the shots that hit a target. If you do an uncharged, I think it's like 2 bursts in order to get a stun. Could be 3 bursts, possibly, depending on the suit, but yeah, it's just something I wanted to mention that I do, just kind of like the way that this weapon works. How it stays true to the beam machine gun aspect of it in both focused and unfocused. Moving to the main melee weapon here, the Psycho Doga Beam Sword. For this, the weapon switching time has been shortened, and for the level 2 version, the power was increased from 2,850 to 2,950, so you do have 100 extra damage when it comes to the level 2 Beam Sword. Next weapon here is going to be the Psycho Doga Beam Axe. We are getting into the sub-weapons now. For this, the cooldown time was shortened from 3 seconds to 2.5 seconds, and that's really good because 2.5 seconds is really the basis for melee weapons. Majority of the melee weapons in this game do have a 2.5 second cooldown timer, so it did bring that down to something a little more standard, which I think is really good for this suit in particular. And then for the level 2, the power was increased from 3,150 to 3,250. So again, we have another 100 increase in power for the other melee weapon here. Moving on to the missile, that's going to be our next sub-weapon. This is going to be the missile that is an instant stun, and is also the one that you can guide as well. Actually, it's the one I used right here. Unfortunately, accidentally hit my full armor unicorn, I think, there, so I did send a sorry in the chat there. But, yep, that is the weapon we're going to be looking at next. And for this, the cooldown time was shortened from 4 seconds to 3.5 seconds. The reload time was shortened from 13 seconds to 10 seconds. The projectile is now less likely to hit objects on the map. I do wonder what they mean by this one. I don't think I've actually ever seen this in any of the unit adjustments before, at least not something worded like this. I'm assuming that means they may have altered the hitbox for the missile or something for when it's firing. So maybe, you know, like the hitbox might be altered so it's less likely to hit things. That's really the only guess I have towards that, but moving on from that, we also have the level 2 power was increased from 1,700 to 2,000. And then finally, our final sub-weapon that was buffed here is going to be the grenade launcher. That is the rapid-fire missiles that are also found on the shield. And what they did for this is that the reload time was shortened from 12 seconds to 8 seconds, and the level 2 power was increased from 800 to 900. So you'll probably realize the pattern here is that a lot of these buffs, most of them do seem like they're meant more for the level 2 variation. We do have a lot of them that still also do apply to the level 1 as well, because the level 2 ones are really more focused around dealing damage. They're not really anything like too specific, like this weapon only got like this stats and it didn't apply to the level 1. Again, it's really more focused on the damage that the suit is able to do, which is 700. I think that is a really good thing to have. 700 suits can both deal a lot of damage and tank a lot of damage. So yeah, really nice changes there. And yeah, that is going to be it for our unit adjustment list here for the Psycho Doga. And before I do get into my really thoughts about the buff, I'm going to let this last match play out here so we can see how the Psycho Doga did for this first match here on City Ruins. And yeah, I guess I can start a little bit by saying, well, really, I just think that this buff has been a really nice change for this suit. The Psycho Doga, as I mentioned at the beginning, I feel like has always been a really good suit, especially at its native costs as well. I had the native cost version first and eventually got the 700 version. And real quick, mission completed. We'll see how we did with this match here. And looks like top in individual for this match here. Gonna send a couple praises around to my teammates. And yeah, first place overall with 8 kills and 2 losses, and second place in damage dealt. Also first place in individual score as well. So really good first match here in the Psycho Doga, and that's going to take us to the colony drop map here. And yeah, going back to what I was saying about the Psycho Doga here, I always felt like the suit was just a really good, solid 650. It has a lot of its own unique strengths to it. Like, I think one of the things about this suit is that you can jump around a lot with it. Like, it has enough thruster gauge and jumping skills to just really keep itself jumping in the air as much as possible, which I feel like is not really something you see with a good number of other suits. I feel like this is really the only one, at least at its cost range, that I feel like I've ever seen have it to the capabilities that this suit has. Other than that, its melee is also really good. You do have 2 melee weapons, and the melee patterns you have as well are also really good. For the Beam Saber, you do have a sliding downswing, so really nice if you get a stun on somebody and you just need to quickly move in and get the downswing, and then you can follow up with the axe to do even more damage. So the suit definitely had a lot of strength. You also have funnels as well. That is something else I should mention. They didn't change anything about the funnels for this suit, which I can see why. The funnels, I feel like, are pretty good the way they are. So really nothing I think I would say I would have changed about that. But as I also mentioned at the beginning, yeah, I can see why they made the changes they did, because there's just a lot of really good 650s. It's something I've covered plenty of times on this channel here, as more 650s got released. You know, we had like the Silver Bullets, and we had the Gustav Call. We had, even before that, we had the Rebawu, which was I think the Rebawu might still be a pretty good 650. So, I'm not really too sure about that one. I don't think I've really seen Rebawus that much nowadays. I think they kind of died down ever since we've gotten a bunch of other 650 gen options. But then, you know, we also have the Mezzer, and then we have the Psycho Bawu. That's another suit that I made a longer video on, really just talking about how much I really like that suit and how good of a general I thought it was. So I do think it is only fair that the Psycho Doga here does get these buffs to really kind of bring it back up. And I do think that the buffs really help this suit out. I mean, you can see here, both of these matches are at 700, which is the level 2 variation. So you are going to be seeing the full extent of the buffs that this suit got. And yeah, I think they have just been really helpful for this suit. I've been able to do really well with it. Yeah, so definitely I would say the suit is at a much better state. Not that I even necessarily think it was at a poor state before this. I just think, you know, like I said, it's just, you know, you have things like power creep where there is just so many other really good suits, and 650 is already one thing, but 700 is a whole nother playing game, like no whole nother field, however that term is supposed to go. But, you know, because we had the full armor Unicorn Gundam, that was the recent suit as of the recording of this video, which I know it isn't one that I've made a video on yet, but it's a pretty solid general from my experience playing it. So, yes, even at 700, you still have some competition for, you know, the suits that are just really good generals to play. And I do think that with these buffs, the Psycho Doga is a viable option to use at this cost. Maybe you just don't have the other suits, or maybe quite possibly you just want to mix up a little and play something new, or maybe something you just haven't played in a while. Yeah, I'll definitely say the Psycho Doga, I think, is going to be a pretty viable option going forward, at the moment at least. We'll have to see if, you know, 650 or 700 do get some changes that alter the balance of that, especially when it comes to 650. You know, I feel like that's where you're going to see really most of this, if there's going to be any changes. But as it stands now, yeah, I think everything they did for the Psycho Doga was really well. Really appreciated buff, even though the unit adjustments for this month were pretty small. I think, like, yeah, like there were not that many suits on the buff roster for this month here. I think technically only one raid got buffed, and that was really only the Ricdom 2 GH, where now it can be used on ground. I think that's really been the only raid, like, buff in, I guess in quotes. I think it did get something else for, you know, ground skill to be able to use its melee or something, but aside from that, yeah, nothing really too much to say about the unit adjustments. And, yeah, right now I am just trying to warn my team here to retreat to our base, as there are a few enemies back there, and I do want to alert the team, which luckily it seems like the team is going back there to help. But yeah, I think that's pretty much everything I have to say regarding the Psycho Doga here. I mean, it's really just a suit that I enjoy playing. I really like the aesthetic of it too. I think it's a really cool suit design. So that alone is just motivation enough for me to really play it, as I just think it looks cool. Kind of the origin about why I play quite a few of the suits I do in this game. I really just think they look really cool, but Psycho Doga here is, again, just one of those suits that is really good. I don't think I can really emphasize it enough that I think this suit is a really good pick for anybody if you want to play a really decent general at the 650, at least at the 650 range. 700 might be a bit iffy. Like I said, we'll have to see going forward how it goes for both costs to see if there's any major changes that, you know, start throwing the suit back down a bit. You know, we start seeing a bit more power creep. But for now, though, I can confidently say that the Psycho Doga is, again, in just a much better state than it was before. I keep saying, like, much better state, like the suit was, like, again, abysmal. It wasn't. It was a really good suit. It has a lot of really good skills going for it, so... yeah, I'm going to let the rest of this match play out here. And yeah, I'm going to end the video here, at least end my commentary of the video here. Yeah, just overall, Psycho Doga feels like a really good buff, really nice changes to this suit. Really nice skills that they added, very nice changes to the weapons, especially for the level 2 version in particular. That suit did get quite a bit more than the level 1 in terms of its weapon damage. And yeah, that's going to be the end of me for this video here. Comment down below what you think about the buffed Psycho Doga. Remember to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. And with that, I will see you all in the next one. Later.
Beacon overtaken. We've lost an allied unit. We've lost an allied unit. An ally has destroyed an enemy. The mobile suit can't take much more. Eject. We've lost an allied unit. Operation successful. Nice work. Here are this battle's rewards.